Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Super excited about this live today. If you haven't already, make sure you press that subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, make sure you like and share and comment. Join in the comments, join in the discussion. We're all about that. This is N-Dowd Empire on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. We're going to get into the mistakes we make when finding happiness. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome. Go one by one, have y'all introduce yourselves. We're gonna start off with David. Me and David have known each other since I was a teenager. Long time, right, David? We're not gonna get into how we met, but let us know a little bit about David. What's good?
Hey, I'm good. Out here in Las Vegas now, not on the East Coast anymore, sadly, but it's going to be an interesting topic. I know the generational curses, the things we're going to be discussing is going to be interesting. I just got out of a engagement not too long ago, still going through some issues. So basically, this is going to be I'm gonna let it all out. I'm not gonna hold anything back, as we already know. And I'm willing to hear what everybody else has to say.
Yes. All right, Jay, my big brother. Married to my best friend. That's his intro. That's it. All right, let's keep it moving.
Yeah, we'll get started. About me, I'll probably differ from a lot of who we got on because I've been in a relationship for a very long time, and then I'm married with a beautiful family, and so I have different views. Some of it is old school, and some of it is mixed in. So I can't wait to get in. To tell y'all
Jay,
about
you already got a fan on live. Love you, Jay. That's Michael. Michael, Jay out here got fans. All right, Latoya, let us know a little bit about yourself. Latoya was my first speaker, my big VCC's first. We had a self-empowerment program, and she came and spoke for us for free. Thank you.
Yes, thank you again for the opportunity. Yes, my name is Latoya. I'm not going to talk about my different accolades, but I am a female who's been through therapy, still in therapy, almost 3 years out of a 15-year relationship. Now I'm in my 40s. I've been in the healthiest relationship I've ever been in the past 9 months.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, welcome everybody for joining in this discussion with me. And this video that we're going to discuss, someone actually sent it to me. I think it was my friend Kiana. And when I watched it, like I've already about a few years in have started realizing that our happiness comes from within. It does not come, we cannot get happiness from other people. And that's where a lot of us fall short, right? Is that we're looking for someone to make us feel happy. We feel crappy ourselves. And that person might do it for a little bit, but after a while, it's really an internal thing that goes on. But what I love about this woman, she broke it down by percentages. And when I watched, I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. So we're gonna break this down bit by bit, and we're gonna go into her love. Her name is Love McPherson. You can follow her on Instagram. She has a really good Instagram page. So we're gonna get into the first part of what it takes for you to be happy.
The Jewish community do that. They build. It's all about building for next generations and also the kind of stuff. And so, because emotions will not sustain a relationship, because you have to bypass your emotions. Those same emotions that drew you. Oh, he made me feel this. He made me feel that. He made me feel this. He ain't gonna make you feel like that forever. He doesn't have the capacity to make you feel. And so, if you are going by sensory of emotions, that's why you will be disappointed and break up, and you will want to leave and say he was fake, because nobody has the capacity to do that.
Yeah. You're right.
You actually make your own happiness.
Yeah.
The external happiness, only 10% has anything to do with anything happening external. COVID-19, Black Lives Matter, none of that. 10% of your happiness is from that. 50% is from your DNA. 40% is from your internal dialogue.
Wow.
So imagine going into marriage thinking that something beyond 10% will make you happy.
Wow. I've never ever thought about that. So are you saying like when a relationship enters or you enter into a relationship, it's only fulfilling 10%?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So this is where a lot of us mess up, right?
Okay, so let me just jump in, baby. Let me just jump in. I agree about like having your own like happiness. You know that I definitely agree. But my issue, and I don't know, and I'm going to ask you guys, but for me speaking as a man, that number's just not right. Like to me, it would be more a percentage. It would be higher. For 10% would be acquaintance. It wouldn't even be a serious relationship in my book. So that's where I disagree. Like it's gonna be more than 10% for me. The woman that I'm married to now, it's about 40%.
She makes up 40% of your happiness.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down. And mind you, I was on that where you know my resume. And I was being happy and doing whatever I wanted to. So I know what it's like to have 100%. And I'm telling you that I love the 40% that I have right now.
Okay. So let me ask you this though, but how much of your self-happiness do you think that he contributed to that?
I think in a marriage it's an even till. So sometimes it's I need a little bit more from her. Sometimes she needs a little less from me. I think that's a seesaw. I don't the more that I've discovered myself, Leland, like dealing with the demons and the traumatic stuff, yes, my happiness did increase, but I was in relationships that was catered to me. You know what I mean? Like in every way. And so I was happy externally, but I'm internally happy with C. And that's the difference.
Okay, I got you. What about you, Latoya? What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I'm like in between what she says and what Jay says. I don't know if it's like I'm sold out on the numbers. Some people are number people, so maybe that helps them understand it. I just feel that when you are in a relationship or where you are in life, that you do need to concentrate on being a whole healed person. And I think that's the most important part, because I think so many people put their happiness in somebody else's lap, like it's their responsibility. That's too much for another person to carry. Just like I am carrying it, trying to make you that happy. So I'm kind of in between. I think DNA, as she talked about in the video, that does have a lot to do with it. People do not, I think, realize or recognize trauma when women are pregnant with unborn children, and the trauma that you see growing up, like you said, that generational stuff, that is DNA. So I'm in between Jay and the doctor.
What about you, David? 10% of your happiness comes from external?
10%. Honestly, I can kind of agree with Jay. I can kind of agree with Toya. It's not necessarily 10%. I'm not going to go too much higher to make it like 20. Just a background on me is I've been engaged twice, and I've gone through ups and downs. And a lot of times, I'm usually the best friend when I want to be in a relationship with somebody. I'm usually their best friend or like a brother. So most of my time, I've learned to deal without having to be somebody else there for my happiness. Now, granted, that portion is still missing because the simple fact is we all want someone in our lives for the most part, but that's not as big as a portion is for me because I have learned to live without that. And the same thing with my mother, called it generational DNA or whatever, but she's broke up with my father back when I was in kindergarten. So most of her life, she's dated a couple of guys off and on throughout the years and all, but she has learned to be independent throughout herself. And the same thing reflects on me is I don't have to have that person there. We both want people there. And my mom's very happily with this man she's with now, her boyfriend for I'm going on 18. So the 18 years I've been in the military, she's been with this guy for 18 years. Met my BMT graduation. She's been with him the whole time. They have not been married, but they're happy. And they actually moved in together just now moved in with each other after almost 17 years. So I learned the same thing. I'm in this house. I'm doing my thing. And I'm happy, but I do want that person that will go out and do the things that I like to do and do things with them. So it's not necessarily 10%, but it's not much more because for me, I learned to live without and make myself happy with what I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Well, see, for me, it's 10% because let me tell you. So my teachings that I'm trying to like implement is the whole law of attraction and higher consciousness type stuff, right? So what we are told is no matter if this person you with act a fool or don't do anything you want, whatever, where you are mentally, if you are totally in tune with yourself, the outside does not like fuck with that. Like you have to get to a place where you are on this plane, when you're on this plane where you have constant like happiness and you're focused on your goals and your happiness is fed from within, not necessarily from external. So for me, I want to get to a place where external factors in a person only contribute to 10% of my happiness because I don't want when you fuck up or you do something that piss me off, you done set off my whole day. You know what I'm saying? That's why 10% is ideal for me. So Cece says, this is Jay's wife. She said, for me, when it comes to happiness, I'm happy with myself. I'm also happy to be able to depend on him to bring me happiness to add to mine. She said, if you can't add to my happiness, then why would I have you around? Okay, correct. So.
I love you.
and my ex is gone, so that tells you where my happiness went. You moved on. Do what you do. I'm happy the way I am. I take care of whatever I need to take care of.
And to be honest, you guys, C and I, we both are very independent. We both were by ourselves, controlled that dynamic. So I think when you don't have that pressure that comes with, the relationship and like, when you come into town, C's gone. Like it's okay. C and I are not so wound up on each other. So I think that's why our percentages change just depending on it. I think when you put too much into somebody, I do agree that it's ridiculous to have all your stuff into one person. I don't agree with that. And I would never have that because I think that C would definitely be bored. I know I would be. I would eventually I would stray because who would want something like that?
Mm-hmm. So she's saying, as far as what I said, she said, I think that way of thinking allows someone to take advantage of you. Yes, you should be happy with yourself, but that doesn't mean to ignore the BS of others. I don't see it as taking an advantage. I'm seeing that I'm not going to allow someone to break my dry, like break my emotions and like, because I've had so many conversations with women where their whole mood has fucked up their obtaining their goals, have fucked up
Exactly.
their desires because of how a behavior someone they're with. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think you
How
find that a lot these days, not sure, everybody's age, but especially
Mhm.
like with this younger generation, it's like if my relationship ain't going well, then it's like you said, your goals and everything else, like you don't want to have any other relationships like with your family and everything else. And I just don't think that's healthy. I think that's a
Yeah.
type of depression as well.
Uh-huh.
So I agree. I think especially younger generations suffer from that.
Yeah.
Think a man is supposed to be there all to be all, and it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cece knows all about that. She knows what I'm talking about. All right. So we're gonna go into the next part as far as now this part is like deep, and this is something I just found out about as far as the
The Jewish
generational
community do
trauma.
that. They build. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is science. This is science. 50% comes from DNA, the epigenetics and stuff like that. So the traumas and stuff like that, that can affect, it actually is in your DNA. Some of your parents' past hurts and pains and stuff, it actually follows you. That's why you have to go through that healing process. And so they found that the babies of the parents that were at 9/11, they came into the world with certain levels of stress hormones that their parents experienced because they were in the womb when that happened.
Yeah.
They have found their grandmother, the day that she was raped, the grandchild reacting and responding to that because there were certain trauma hormones in the child for generations. Well, the Bible talks about generations of things. And so the sins of the fathers for generation. And so with that, that is very consistent with science. And so as you travel with that, that's 50%. But 40.
So this part is heavy, and I actually did like deeper research. So I first learned about this. I went to a seminar, and they were talking about this. First came up from a Dutch study of like descendants of people who were affected by this Dutch famine. I forgot what years it happened, but everyone, all the descendants from people who went through the famine has high chances of schizophrenia, had biological disorders, medical disorders. And then they started looking into like, I mean, I think the most common one is like, besides slave, is Native Americans. We have seen how the breakdown of disbanding their tribes and putting them on this reservation and not allowing them to use their language and taking away their customs they have such a high rate of depression and suicide and drug abuse. And for us, it goes even more deeper because I feel like even though it started with slavery, I feel like every generation's had its own set of trauma added on to the previous trauma that we're trying to get out of. So what were y'all thoughts about this part? And this is 50% is DNA is in our DNA as far as it's affecting our mood, our happiness.
now this one, that was the one that I could see. Like that one made a lot of sense. CNI are advocates for therapy, and we talk to our children now about trying to break the generational curses because of by talking through our post traumatic things that we went through. So this is absolutely something that we all need to talk about a lot more. It's more uncomfortable to even realize that things can be passed on like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Latoya? I know you're big on therapy too.
Yeah, I am. I was shocked to hear that the number was so high with, trauma hormones. I'm gonna have to agree with it. Because I think even, with different thought patterns, that those are carried down from generational, like all the different types of negative thoughts that people may have, like blaming, labeling, fault finding, different things like that. So I'm gonna have to agree with that.
Okay. What about you, David?
I'm gonna have to agree as well. I know in my family, my dad, they broke up in kindergarten, but I have aunts and uncles, six kids all together in the family, and I was raised around pretty much all of them. So I know I picked up a little bit from each and every one of them. My grandparents living with my mom for so much time, I've gotten stuff from them. So the little drama stuff that they had, and things I've heard, my mom going through some stuff at times that I know I picked up on some things, and I've learned mistakes from then. I've learned things. I've done some of the same things they did in the past, but yeah, I have to agree with that as well. I know that's all. Like, I'm not really in a family where mom and dad always been together. It's been maybe just my mom, so I just picked up on everybody else, and I can agree with that as well.
Okay. Kiki, she has a statement. She said, "No one should define someone's happiness. It's not fair to the person to put that type of pressure for them to make you happy. Happiness starts within you. Anyone that comes into your life should be the cherry on top. That's a healthy life and future."
Good compliment.
Words from Kiki. Do you guys know about your generational trauma? Like, is there stories that you have came across about either your parents' generation, your grandparents' generation, and you're like, yeah, I understand why I'm like that? Have any of you guys had that moment?
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it. I'm gonna let somebody else go first.
My family is on maybe on the hush. I don't hear nothing. I see some things I did wrong, what they did, but I don't get to hear the stories in the background. That's go in the other room so we can have a talk.
Yeah, I know for me, like, I found out that, because it was pretty much, I was shielded from it when I was younger, but like, I found out like my uncles, like, they was hustlers and stuff like that. So it's kind of like I realized, and I'm confronted the fact that I know how to manipulate very well. And I think that comes from like that mentality. But as far as the slave portion, since we are Black here on this panel, I did want to bring up when I was doing the research, how it was saying that a lot of the reactions that we have now to things that we see as far as racism, it takes us back to the original trauma being that has been like gone through us. So this is why, for me, I get annoyed when people are like, "Why are they writing? Why are they so angry?"
Right.
This shit is like in us. Like, we've had to deal with this shit. It's in our genes, and we haven't. I feel like our generation is the first generation that has normalized therapy, for one. So this is like something that has been passed down through us, every generation, that we're just now finding out how to deal with. Kiki was saying older generations carry more bones in the closet into their graves. When you know better, you do better. That's right. A lot of us probably, our grandmothers and parents probably went through some stuff we don't even know about. Yes.
Yeah.
I have one, because we're also talking about thinking patterns too, right? As far as generational, right?
Yeah.
So I have one. I don't know if y'all gonna agree with me, but please don't shoot me. One of them is now I don't know about the white homes, I know about the Black homes, but improper interpretation of the Bible. Like, sometimes they want to use that Bible from generation to generation the wrong way, to make you feel guilty. Like, if your mother wasn't in your life and didn't raise you, but then she needs your help, like, you're obligated to help her. If that's not a healthy relationship, why do people always want to say, but the Bible says honor thy mother and thy father? But if it's not healthy, just because it's your mother, your family, doesn't mean you have to have that relationship. And I know I've seen where generations have like put that on people in my family. So I think improper interpretation of the Bible.
Yeah. And that came all the way down from the slave master using the Bible to keep us under control.
Yes.
That's why I feel the same way about corporal punishment, like spankings. They said that we saw like being beat by, and that is why we're so quick to manhandle each other, is because that's how we were conditioned when we were brought over here. It goes deep, man.
It does. And I think most people don't realize it. I think they don't realize how deep that it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, Leland, it was like, because I'll tell you my age. I'm in my 40s, and so I'm realizing now that my mom does now. I've realized that she's been doing that since I was a child. I've been blocking stuff out, and it's like, we were taught to do certain things a certain way. Now that I'm old enough, I'm putting the pieces together and realizing, as a family, we all react a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Which is
yeah. Now, am I correct in assuming Jay is the only one on this panel with children? Oh no, David has children.
I forgot about my son. Yes, I have a son.
LaToya, do you have children?
No, I don't.
Okay. So for the men, like what? Well, David's got baby, cute baby. Are you taking to like stop the generational trauma with your kids?
Jay, you go first.
Really, the things that I'm afraid of are the things that I know that I used to just do because I was told or taught that. Now I actually do the research. I don't just go by what my mama said, what my auntie said are good. Talking about our emotions to me is a generational curse that I didn't experience. My family, I had a father and a mom that was been together forever, and I didn't have a strong relationship. He was taught to be quiet. He was taught to just work and pay bills. So there's a way that I tried to work on what I think Black men have a stereotypical, we don't communicate, we're not loving. I try to be more loving to my boy. I try to, change that kind of.
Yeah.
I talk about not bottling things up. We're taught, our impressions are very important to look a certain way once we leave the house. And I don't do that to my children. They're allowed to feel how they want to feel when they feel that way.
What about you, Dave? I know your baby's a baby, but what are things you want to do?
Well, I know he's 3, and I've talked to many other children, the friends and stuff I have, and with people all growing up. I just make sure that, in tradition that we know you're supposed to put a certain amount of your savings away and let it go in the stock market and let it invest, and it will slowly grow over time, which at some point is not going to grow over time. We kind of fall back on that tradition. That's what you do. Put your money in your 401k, leave it alone, don't worry about it. But now, as we all see with different things going on around the world, Bitcoin coming up, Litecoin coming up, Tesla jumping double, triple in the stock, the best thing to do is not just let it sit and hoping that it's going to make something, is actually, like as Jay said, do the research, keep an eye on things from time to time. Oh, wait, if the market's going down, let me take my money, put it away somewhere so it won't be touched, and then let it go back up instead of waiting it fall down, wait for that curve to come back up again. You can make more money. So investments, learning things. I know my mom went to college very briefly. I've been to college. I'm trying to understand that in order to break a generational curse, per se, is that I'm a visual person. I'm not very audible and learning to people just talking to me. If you show me something, I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And that's the same thing with my son, the different toys and stuff I have, my motorcycles and stuff down there, is that I'm going to use that as a visual learning to make sure that he can understand and grasp things such as the math and science and English, and hopefully get involved with foreign languages. I've been overseas, so as you know, Leland, I've been overseas before. So showing other cultures to try to break and make him as prosperous as best as I can.
Yeah. And you know what? I like that you brought up the financial part of it, because I think for the longest, I know growing up, I think we're all the same age in our era. It was kind of like we would grow up, the Puff Daddy era where you gotta like floss hard even though you don't have it, and everything was about the name brands. And but I'm thinking the younger generations kind of more, they don't really care about stuff like that too much. Like they might have a favorite or something, but it's not as, their tastes aren't as expensive as as ours, as we were meant to be. And, you know, and caring so much about what other people say and think. I feel like they are more like, you know, that's me, I'm doing me.
True.
You know, they be doing something for clout.
Yeah, right. I don't know
It'd be stuff that they want to do for clout. Not necessarily, you know. So Cece was saying we don't have to be in the face of anyone that hurts us. And I remember so many people questioning my parenting because of how I communicated with my kids. True. I don't believe that kids should be seen and not heard. And I'll admit, in the beginning, I was kind of like, why are you talking so much to your kids? Like, just tell them what to do. Get them But Cece and Jay are very good at like sitting down and letting hear out their emotions.
We had to listen. We had to evolve. Evolve. You know, because it was hard. It really, you know, I was raised a certain way, and when that was a lot of why I see it. I argued because I didn't, you know, want to be that open with my children. Now I can't help it. Now it's beautiful. Now, you know, there's really no secrets because of they've seen us so open, you know. But before it was like, I don't have to do that. I don't want to.
Takio said, Cece said I was already evolved. All right, girl.
That's no friend.
Is he giving a shout out to Toya? All right, so we gonna get into the next baby. I was already about. All right. So we gonna get into the 40%. I hate every time. I didn't know every time I come back in and go right back around.
40% is from what you say to yourself, how you respond, your goodness, your character, the thought life that you will have, the way that you take care of yourself, and the self-love that you administer. All of those things impact 40% of your happiness. 10%, only 10%, is impacted by the external.
So self-care, y'all. Where did the Toya go? I'm sorry. 40% is self-care that will contribute to our happiness. Jay?
40%.
40%. How are you?
I don't know. I'm on the ropes with that. I really believe in taking care of yourself, being secure with yourself, finding out what you want out of life. And so I really do like this video in ways of the conversation that it's bringing out. I'm just not going to be sold on numbers when it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Because we all are different. We all feel things, and sometimes it could be spiritual that changes our perception on numbers. So
true. Toya?
I think if we're going to talk about the numbers, I think self-care has to be a little bit higher than that. Because even no matter what you experienced in your life, as far as trauma, heartbreak, it's up to you to get your healing. Like Ayala says, how are you telling your story? So I think the number, I think is a little higher. Self-care, I think, that's got to be at least 7.
What you say, David?
Because my life didn't come full circle until like I really got my healing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it helped me be a better friend, a better daughter, a better entrepreneur, a better child of God. I had a better understanding of certain things, why I thought the way I thought, why did I react the way I reacted, why did I make the decisions that I made. So I think the numbers is a little higher. Self-care is very extremely important.
I agree. David?
I can agree with the previous two, Jay and Latoya. 7 is kind of high, but I can still agree. For me, I know I'm trying to figure out some of the things that I made in my life and why I made my determination and decisions. So I'm looking back at those things at the moment, but at the same time, for me, it's still up there as for me, I'm not really trying to look for somebody else until I know I get myself together. I feel a lot more comfortable if I can approach someone else and compliment me on my life doing well before I try to add them in when I got turmoil and stuff going on right now. So that's why my major focus for this break is to sit there and get most of my life in line. So when it is time to look for someone else, it's almost like second nature. I have nothing else to worry about. I can take care of that person on certain things and we can complement each other. But taking care of yourself is up there. If not 40%, it is up there probably around like 50, 60, because that's the foundation for me. You have to be okay with yourself or close to being up to cake with yourself before you start trying to bring someone else into your lifestyle. Because if that person leaves, I'm still okay. So that's what I've been telling everybody. I'm still okay. Even if someone else leaves, I'm okay. I mean, I'm a little upset. You know, that's not 10%, 20%. I'm upset, but I'm still going to be okay in the long run. But I'm not needing them to make sure that my life and my goals is going to be accomplished.
That's right. You're going to be only 10% upset. That's right.
Yeah. Hey, numbers is low, bro. Low.
I'm not trying to really break down numbers too much, but I mean, it's going to be somewhere in that type of range or something.
Yeah. For me, I didn't even think about that till Toya said it should be higher. I agree, because part of the self-care, she was also talking about our self-thoughts and something that could be, we can self-sabotage ourselves in our relationship, right? Our thought process could go from literally here to here to here to here. To the point where when you have a conversation with that person and you confront them, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? I've had people come to me with shit, and I can tell, like, you got some shit going on. Like, I didn't mean that. Like, I didn't even say that, but they find so many demons in their head. Like, it's crazy. Kiki says she loves being open with her daughter. She's talking about the previous question. What I love about Kiki, I interviewed her in my last live, and she brought up how she actually growing up with her daughter, they would sit in the closet together, and that would be their open space to say anything. And I thought that was an incredible idea. She said self-care needs to be 100%. 100%. So what are y'all doing to help get your mental together? Yes, David.
Okay, so I'll go first for once. For me, like we talked about earlier, financial is to make sure that my finances are great. You know, my finances are great. Things to do to make sure that when it comes down to stuff, that's going to be not a heartache for me, because that's one of the biggest concerns I think with some folks is the money. You got the rent, you got you got whatever is your mortgage, whatever you're paying. Make sure your bills are straight, because once those are set, it's a big weight off your shoulders. So between that,
can I be devil's advocate right quick though?
Yes.
Because you know how I am about money. I feel like that's something that should not place importance on. Because what if one day you ain't got your like, are you gonna be okay?
Let me say it one more time. It kind of broke up.
Money is fluid. Like, money is not like, I don't think that we should place our happiness on our finances, on our money, because that can come and go. Like, that changes.
True. I've been looking at some books and all, but you know, one of the things I read, not to stick on money, but the wealthy, their money makes money. And I'm not at that point to where my money's making my money yet. So I'm trying to get to that point.
You're trying to get where you're not dependent on it.
Me and my lady can sit back and relax, knowing that we still got nice income coming in, even though we retire, sitting on the beach, and then I'll talk to you in the next web conference from there. But
David is single, by the way. Putting your plug out there.
I mean, I'm in Vegas. I'm trying. My happiness depends on less stress for me. I love to get out. I like to do things. So, in order to get to that particular spot, that's what I'm trying to look forward to. Is okay. Let's get these other things off my chest. Let's get these things off my shoulders. Let's get the money down. Let's get the other stuff down because then I could take the trip to Japan. I could take the trip to the Caribbean. I can do all these particular things that I want to do that make me happy with a special somebody. But I have to get there first, which is one, how can you get the money or get the means to go there? And the one of the biggest things that keeps coming up in my time is the money. The money has to be there. Take the time to find a woman who's not stressed with her stuff as well. And I got less stress going on. We can enjoy a trip instead of her wondering like, oh, is my babysitter okay with this child? Is my aunt, they drive them crazy? They okay? You have less stress. I think your relationship would be much better if there's less stress. So the things that stress me is what I'm trying to get off my shoulders as much as I can, which then my relationship hopefully will be much better.
Okay. Toya.
What was the question again?
I talk too much.
No, you're good, David. I'm loving
what are you doing for your self-care to help get yourself to a better spot mentally?
Okay, it's a list. I'm not gonna be like David. It's a list. So one thing is that I'm still in therapy. I try to identify my triggers and respond to them, appropriately because I can be a little spicy. I try to fulfill my passions, which is educating and helping others. If anybody's on here, I do taxes, help you fix your credit. Trying to be the best person that I am by creating healthy boundaries, having healthier relationships. As David said, financial freedom, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm over in my 40s, getting close to retirement. So yeah, I'm gonna need my finances to be right. And becoming an entrepreneur, having multiple streams of income, because certain jobs, it just ain't gonna do.
Man. It's so stressful. Oh, Jesus. So stressful. Jesus. Cece said, you better promote yourself. That's right.
I'll promote Cece.
Jay, how are you taking care of yourself mentally?
Really, I decided to start really being honest with myself, like really looking in the mirror. And, I think we survive and living. And so I want to live. I've been surviving and just being okay with the norm, but I'm not okay anymore. I want to be happy, which means I want to figure out what makes me tick. What's my goals? Now I have goals. Like, you know how many children we have. So it's always been about the family, but that's not the only part of me. Now I have things that I'm passionate about. So finding a passion, actually talking to somebody, like doing the things that I would never do, or what I'm trying to do that kind of really take care of me, and like talking, all of that, and a lovely wife, cha-ching.
And what I love about Jay is one of these new age fathers. I'm meeting more and more men like Jay who have decided to stay at home and help raise the children. So, and I think that takes that's a strong dude right there. So shout out to you.
I love it. Love it.
Girls, do not allow them to do that. It'd be like, no, you the woman, you dead. But Jay has risen to the occasion.
I shall and I will.
All right, so I want to get into this next part.
The Jewish community.
Here we go. Here she gonna get on my nerves.
Love externally.
Exactly.
Like everything that we search for to try to fulfill 10% of, and no wonder why we were always empty because it's only 10%.
Oh no! Grasshopper, you have covered. You have found the answer.
Oh my God!
The answer.
That makes perfect sense. And then, to be honest with you, hearing you say the 40 and 50 with DNA, and then just like because it is almost like, I've always said that I feel like I got a version of my mother's depression. I always said that. Like I always said, like I feel like I just got a piece of it, but I'm the generation that's trying to break it. So it feels like I'm going through the trenches for past generations and for my future.
You are. You absolutely are. You absolutely are. Exactly.
So with this part of it, I totally felt her when she was like, I feel like I'm going through the trenches, like trying to build myself and stop the habits that were like passed down to me and all that. So, and then as far as too, why I was saying, how we kind of to make ourselves happy. Just shut up.
That's not even my kid. I know y'all laughing at me.
I think David needs some parental advice.
Wait, somebody else is in the house, so I don't want nobody calling Steve.
Yes, this is not my kid, but he picked the lock and came in the room. He picked the lock and came in. I was like, come on, go out. He ain't want to leave. He ain't going to sit down quietly. So we took him out of the room, put him down there.
Oh my God.
Put him on the ground.
Oh my God. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Cece said, Jay, if we ever divorce, you going to take all the kids.
Lord. Well, he was climbing all over. I was like, boy, you got to sit still. I'm trying to hear the video.
Okay, so going through the trenches. It's a fight for ourselves to find happiness. Because I know for me, this topic like touches me dearly because I am in the process of trying to find my own happiness and not allow other people to affect me so much and not try to look for other places to get my happiness from. Because that's when we fuck up royally, is when we're looking for other places for the happiness. Whether it be like, I know people who go out, like this whole pandemic, I think really has brought out a lot of people. I know people who are suffering through the quarantining. Like they have to be around people, they got to go out, like they is. And it's to the point where like they're literally depressed. Like it's like they don't like to be by themselves. Have you guys noticed that?
Who doesn't? I know I don't want to be by myself.
Okay, well you should. You should be happy. You should be happy with being by yourself. That's the point of like self-happiness.
Well, like I said, there's that percentage. It's not fully fulfilled in the happiness until you get that full 100%.
No, I feel like during this whole pandemic, this self-quarantine, we should take the time to like really get to know ourselves and find out what makes us happy. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong, but I think a lot of us haven't addressed those kind of issues. Like some of us are not in a happy relationship. So now you're in a pandemic and you are now faced with your reality because you can't hide from work. You can't go to church. You can't go wherever you used to go. So I think you're right. So I think some people are having this self-discovery and it's been forced upon. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I think you should. You absolutely should have it though.
Yeah. And I think before the pandemic, and not just dealing with the pandemic, I think so many people, they don't realize that they did place so much of their happiness on this relationship. And to also piggyback off what Jay said earlier about surviving, I think a lot of times we find ourselves surviving and we don't realize that person that I was in my 20s, that experience that I have, I don't need that person in my 30s. And I think a lot of times we keep going about in life the same way. as that other person. But as you grow, you get older, you mature, so you don't need that same person. I had to learn that through therapy. I didn't need that person who had been molested or raped and been cheated on, been in a bad relationship. I didn't need her. I was in my 40s. I'm in my own now.
That's right.
So yeah.
David.
What's up, David?
Honestly, after going through stuff in relationships, I haven't been in too many relationships, and being the brother and hearing stories of a lot of different women, I kind of figured out what makes me happy already. So now that I know what makes me happy, that's what I'm looking for. And when I hear some other stories and all, that's when it's like I gotta let the other stuff go. And that's one of the biggest things I learned now that I'm going to be 40 next year, is that when I identify certain things, it's like this person has the potential to be somebody I really want to be with, date, marry, whatever the case may be. When I start listening to the stories and all, and listen to what someone has to say, and then listen to how they talk, sometimes that term, like, you're not going the same direction I am. We have a lot of things in common, but we're going to split and go in separate ways. And that's where I was like, all right, let's just draw the line. We can always be good friends. We can chat, we can talk, but I identify what I like and what I enjoy. I know I'm a person who wants to go out, go do things. I can't be with someone who stays at home all the time. And that's where it's like, there's no way I'm going to enjoy going on a trip to the Caribbean. And my wife's like, I just want to stay in here and just relax. I don't want to do anything. Like, I want to explore.
You're ready to travel if y'all can't tell already.
In the hotel room, get a massage, and I want to do all that stuff. Just, like, it's going to ruin it. It's going to ruin that, trying to make that work. So find someone who likes what you like. And now that I identify pretty much what I like and the things I'm interested in, that's what I look forward to. So I love to learn different things. So when I find people who are interested in the same things I am, we just start clicking and it just goes. But on the other hand, it's like, now that I identify it, that's what I look for. And if I don't, then it's like, hey, we can all be cool friends, but it won't go beyond that, because that's just going to be wasting her time and myself. So.
Yeah. Cece, apparently my comments aren't coming up on the platform, but she was saying, I think the pandemic has put a different light on the person they're with. And they also said a lot of people filed for divorce during this quarantine situation. A lot of people got pregnant, but a lot of people filed for divorce.
There's a lot of houses in my neighborhood for sale all of a sudden. I don't know exactly why, but
right.
For sale.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff that that people let go, they're not letting go. They, you tense. You got your last nerve is done at this point. 2020 has been a lot, so you're going to see a lot of people that are not emotionally stable with each other. You're going to see that separation.
Yeah, true.
2021 spring break gonna be something. We're gonna be going out.
I know. It will be lit though. It will be lit.
I think it's gonna be gargoyle.
All right, so we're gonna get into this last portion. This actually is a good segue into this portion.
Happiness. Your happiness comes from inside. But think about this. How long have Black people neglected their insides?
For generations. We say go to church, give it to God.
And that's it. But we don't deal with the day-to-day and learning about ourselves, learning why we're responding the way we respond. And therefore, we look for somebody to satisfy. That's that Tylenol, that emotional Tylenol that you think that man is presenting to you. And that's what you're addicted to, is the drug of the person, because it makes you feel something. It represses the pain that's inside of you. And we think that is going to cure us, and it will never cure you.
Yeah.
That pause. That part right there.
When you say, I knew it was about to be a problem.
Yeah. Before we get Kiki says it's going to be a lot of 100% self-care once this pandemic is over. People will learn not to settle. Yeah.
That's
But Yeah. But going into what C said, who want to comment on that? That was
I mean, I just, as speaking as a, I think that that's really what I've really discovered is at this age, I was unwilling to talk, to get help because of not being taught that from others. I've now talking to my mom about getting help. I think she's more uncomfortable than I am, and I find that I'm more sad for her than I am for myself because it's like, no, this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. But I realized that my grandma was the same way. I realized that my great, you know what I mean? Like, and that's a lot.
Yeah. For me, what hit close to home was using people as a Tylenol because I've done that throughout my whole life. I am famously known for when some go bad with one man, you get under another to feel better.
Yep. That's the staple. That's the same.
Yeah, so like don't judge because you was back 20 years ago. But yeah, so it shows the importance of self-happiness, and that's why I want that percentage of someone else contributing to my happiness to be so low. Like I don't want I just don't want to depend on anybody to make me happy. I've done that for so long. And it's really, and it is a drug. It literally is a drug. Like you literally go through withdrawals, trying like when you feeling down or bored or whatever, you look into the other person to fulfill that, and then you get mad when the person don't fulfill it. So it's a whole cycle.
Just like that.
Yeah. Oh, Javel's on the live. She sent me the video. She said, yeah, this video. Thank you, Javel. So yes. Toya.
So I just got a little 3-second point to make that it's okay to, like, I think a lot of people, especially like in the church, they feel like you're supposed to just give it all to God and just leave it there. You are supposed to give it to God, but it's okay to need God and a therapist. And I'm gonna tell you this, and what I didn't say at the beginning of the video is that I have worked in a male prison facility for over 20 years. And there are a lot of men out there who are good men, but who are hurt and who have unhealed issues as well. So I'm gonna leave that at that. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, I feel like with Black men, it's a lot because they don't want to go to like they see therapy or getting help as a weakness, so it's like even a harder struggle for our brothers.
I think so.
It is. It definitely is. It's even. I think it's uncomfortable. I noticed that even having a conversation with people even my age or even older, and to find that they're uncomfortable about it, I'm like, I don't even know what this is. What is the big deal? But it's like it's embedded in them. You know what I mean? Like you talking to a therapist. I mean, like you didn't pray about it, or you know what I mean? Like, I needed both.
Yeah, David, how do you feel about therapy?
As far as I'm concerned, I've never been to therapy. I usually have my own social circle. My mother raised me, trying to be what a man was supposed to be. So usually between her, my aunts, my grandparents, I listened to what they said. It's like, okay, I have a question from a woman's perspective, which you probably heard this before. What do you think about blah, 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 blah? Well, that don't make no damn sense. What if a man did that? Yeah, that's bull. Okay, so that means I effed up. Okay, got it. All right, cool. I got it. So it's not really been a professional therapist, but more like a group therapy for me and the people that I try to keep around me when I see how they're doing their lives, how successful their marriages might be. It's more of a group thing to say that, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong. This is this. I've seen we have what's called MFLAC in the military now. It's a psychiatrist, I think, that's there that you can just walk in her office and talk to her about whatever you want. She basically said I should start a sitcom with all the stuff I got going on in my life, but decisions I make and the things I do. It's pretty funny for her. She loves it, but at the same time, she's like that group therapy while I'm at work. I can talk to somebody and figure out, okay, am I crazy or is it just this? No, you straight. You're not crazy or nothing. Of course, she's not like, I don't know if therapy can give you medication. She can't do anything. She just talks, and that's all she can do. So I still learn differences between psychiatrists and this and the other. So, but for the most part, I haven't been to therapy myself, but as a group, and the family and the friends that I keep around, it's kind of like a group therapy for me. Is where I always discuss things and just make sure, is it just me? Am I doing something wrong? Am I crazy? Or is it just, it's just that person is acting a dang fool and you're doing the right thing. And that's usually my type of therapy.
Are you bothered by going to a one-on-one therapist?
Depends on what that budget said for that therapist. But honestly, the therapy, I'm not upset, that I don't go to therapy or I think I should go to a therapist. But depending on what it is, I mean, in my mind, from TV shows and all, therapy was for someone, you got to have money for that stuff. And I'm like, I'll just talk. I'm saying this is what from my experience.
No, you're right. A lot of people do think that. I thought that too, Toya.
Yeah. So I got to spit her water out. I know she got something to say. Like, wait, what?
All that negative connotation about therapy. Therapy is not as expensive as it used to be. It's probably sometimes the copay is cheaper than what it is to go to your physician. But I'm gonna tell you this, it is great that you do have the circle of people in your life that you can lean on and to give you good sound reason advice. But this is one thing I do want to say. For anybody I'm in a serious relationship with, that if you refuse to go to therapy, if I feel like we get to that point, that's a deal breaker for me. Mm-hmm. So, because sometimes, therapy it's not about you're right or she's wrong. Sometimes it's about just getting a better understanding of where their thoughts come from. You're going to get a better understanding from that person because so many people don't understand, like even the 5 love languages. Some people don't even realize themselves how their trauma affected them or how even a broken heart, past relationships. So I think there's a lot of negative connotation on therapy sometimes.
Well, don't get me wrong about therapy. I agree with what you're saying. The funny thing is, between one of my other friends, she spoke to me about the 5 love language, which I had no idea about till later on, how each person relates to somebody else. But we have in the military, it's chaplains, MFLAC. I'm sure there's therapy and psychologists we go see, but for the people we can immediately go walk out of work and go see, I talk to them along with my family members, and that's where it was like, I don't go to say that therapy is wrong. I go to make sure that what I did, the decisions and what resulted as what we did as a situation, the results that came out. I want to understand, why do you think that way? Why did I do this? Am I wrong for thinking that way? Because a lot of times when I can't convey exactly how I want to express something, like I don't see how you're going to it. I don't see where you're coming from it. That third party can see when you're pregnant and this happens, this is how you feel about this. And if you're leaving so much when she really needs you, that's not a good time to be doing all that type of stuff that you would normally do. Yeah. Okay, I never saw it that way. I get what you're saying. I see where she's coming from. Thanks for interpreting and translating for me where she's coming from, and I go through from that. So therapy has never been off the table for me. It's just the fact that an actual therapist, as far as I'm concerned, I've not seen. But from what you're telling me in therapy is exactly what I go through with the people that I speak with, whether either be in the military or with family and friends.
Yeah, my concern with the family and friends, though, is sometimes they are, what's it called, biased. Mm-hmm. So you're not really, like when I first went to a therapist, like she was able to explain to me like scientifically what was going on in my brain and made me do certain things and react in certain ways I didn't even realize. And then two, for me, I put a therapist on the same level as going to see a dentist, as going to see a physician. Like even if you go once a year just for a tune-up or a checkup or something. I think they need to be all in the same line. You make your dentist appointment, your your physical exam, go see a therapist, like check and really and the same thing also. I think a lot of people, not to pick up on you, David, because this is like I get this all the time. But they also, I get the people that saw one therapist and had a bad experience, and now they done written off all therapists. And it's like, okay, therapists are like people. Like, if you went to one church and had a bad experience, and you're not gonna go to no church. I'm a horrible person to say that example because I'm anti-church, but I'm just saying, like, or I've had a bad doctor. That means I'm not gonna see another primary care physician because I had a doctor that I thought was racist. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to find one that fits you. And that was just more comment. That's not to you, David. That's just
no.
I agree.
Yeah, and nothing against that. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
What I was going to say is that I believe it's like the stereotypes that come with therapy. For me, I didn't want to go because I felt it was less masculine. You know what I mean? Like I felt it was challenging my masculinity by going to a therapist, and then it's being judged. I think once you take those stereotypical things that you might think a therapist, instead of just going and seeing what it's going to be like. I think we all have these pre-notions or what your parents say or what your friends experience, like Leland just said, what other people's experiences can be off-putting. But I recommend it for like our children go to therapy. We all, our whole family goes to therapy, and it's beautiful, to be honest with you. And with their sessions are their own. You know what I mean? We all need some. What we've just been talking about is self-care, and I don't see how. I believe like having a therapist works hand in hand with self-care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we go. What do you want to say, David?
The one thing I think is different for me with therapy was that when it came down to it, is that my grandmother has 6 children. 3 girls, 3 guys. So between the kids they have, I don't bring up my personal information, but I'm like, what if scenario happens? That's at least 6 different answers I can get. And also I kind of take that and mold it to that one scenario. Now, granted, if I was a single child and my grandmother only had 1 child, then I don't want it to be that bias, like you were saying earlier, be a biased opinion from a family or friend member. This way, because I have so many adults who are older than me that have been through marriages, divorces, remarried, and I try to get their perspective, and that's why I don't look at it as a bias because there's 6 different opinions that all of them been through something different, and I just put that together as part of my therapy and learning my lessons and understanding why someone else feels the other way. And of course, my friends as well ask other women what they think.
Does it get confusing for you to get all the different opinions?
No, because actually it opens your mind to see from all these different perspectives why this is going on. Why, like for example, right now I have 2 people staying in the house with me that are, getting themselves and doing their thing. But at the same time, people are like, why would you do that? Why would you have people on that? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's just a perspective I have. And when I share it, they share their perspectives and I hear from different people and on. I'm like, I get it. I thank you. And I understand, if you're dating, that's going to be kind of weird. So that's why I put dating off for a little bit until stuff's situated and go back to doing what I'm doing. But I mean, I've learned from a woman's perspective how she feels about that, which I don't want to go into another topic. I'm sticking with your video. But I like hearing multiple opinions because then you can formulate, hey, as a whole, this is how the world looks at it. This is how you look at it. Maybe you're different from everybody else. And I put those perspectives together and I kind of formulate things from there. Uh-oh. Go ahead.
CC, I'm calling Latoya with the raised church finger.
I think, no, David, I love everything you're saying. I think you bring up some very good points. But this is the thing. I have like maybe 6 female friends I'm tight with. I ain't asking none of them but one about any advice. So, and I'm keeping it real.
Yeah.
I am, because it's like being through therapy. It's like, man, I got like a therapist radar. Like I see some of your unhealed issues in yours, and I'm like, I'm not going to y'all asking y'all nothing. Like it's only one, and I don't even ask her that much. I had to learn to be okay with my own thoughts and my own decisions. Everything is nothing wrong with what you said. I pick it on you, David. I'm just giving, the other side of the spectrum. Like, no, I don't ask people stuff as much as I used to. I'm more secure within my own decisions and my own reasoning and thinking process.
I'm with you. And sometimes I just need that backup. Like, you ain't crazy. Like, I'm sticking with my decision, man.
Yeah, because you can't have your therapist on 911. So sometimes you do need a board, a venting board. But
yep.
Yeah. Cece also said, I also want to add that choosing the right therapist for the both of you is important. No therapist should favor one over the other, nor should they not call you out on your stuff. And then Kiki said, that's it. Therapists are paid to listen, to understand, and not to respond. So yeah. So guys, we've made our hour 10 actually. It went by fast. All of you guys for participating in this discussion. And I want to do this again. Like, this was fun.
I loved it.
I'm cool with it.
I was picking on my boy, but it's all good. We back.
Okay.
I still have my BS flags. I know it when I hear it.
Oh, 2 times.
Much love, David. Much love.
I know. We just love our brothers. We just want to make sure y'all are good. That is all. Do y'all have any closing statements you want to make?
It was an interesting video. I'm gonna stay on my opinion about that percentage not being right, but it was good. I mean, it's something that I think we all need to. I like the self-discover. I love that conversation. I think that's so important. And if you don't agree with the numbers, just find the numbers that work for you. That's what I get from that.
Mm-hmm. Tori, what you get from it, the video?
I'm gonna piggyback off what Jay said. Everything is different for everybody. I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like I enjoy hearing everybody's perspective. So I think it was a great discussion. I have one thing to say to David. Standard preferences. No one.
Throw your hat. Throw it. That's what I'm talking about. We here. Yes.
Oh my God. I'm so irritated with you. David, what is there any closing statements?
I gotta follow all that.
You don't have to.
Honestly, it was good. I enjoyed the video. I enjoyed our conversation. Again, hearing people's perspectives on things has always been enlightening, and that's why I enjoy. That is, in my sense, my therapy. Hearing about generational curses and all, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I never really looked into it as much until I watched this video here recently. I usually look at it, and people say about generational curses, I'm just like, I don't care what you want to call it. I'm trying to break whatever it is. I'm trying to live good. I'm trying to make sure we learn a lot. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm just making sure that I got myself together. I got some books to read. I got some videos I watch and inspire myself to try to go through. I'm here on N-Dowd trying to learn more about myself. So it's just constantly going on to do better. And that's basically how I look at it, and be as real as possible. Don't sit here and try to lie to myself. Get yourself a little something, treat yourself, and then I pay for it a little bit later on. No, just make sure 2 months, you're done, you pay it off. That's it. Don't sidetrack. Don't let nobody get you off track. So that is my new focus for 2021, is to make sure that is a big priority for me, is to make sure that all my stuff is being taken care of. And that's why I'm here. So that's why I say I'm not giving nobody no bull. I'm not trying to make you feel better. I'll hurt your feelings if I have to. I'll just be real about it. But it's the same thing here in this house, is to make sure that I take care of business and things are being handled, because people thought I'm going to sell my house because my ex left. I'm like, actually, no, it's all paid by me. So if she leaves, it's probably going to be whatever. But
Talk
You
your
do
Oh,
shit.
that hat, boy.
but the only problem is that I got to work on better locks on my door because they're picking my lock from the office. They're coming in here. They're supposed to be downstairs watching TV, but they prying into my.
You come up with that invention, you will be financially free forever.
I know, right?
I'm working on it.
Childproof, a real childproof lock. I'm at that 3-year-old just pickpocketed or not.
Right in the background, I'm like, we're having a conversation. I'm looking at the camera in the mirror, like he unlocking the door. He's sitting. There's enough stuff for him to play with in here. I'm like, no.
No, you want to be where they action at. That's how
I'm redoing the whole office. There's stuff underneath that you guys can't see. I'm redoing the whole areas. I do not need him picking. What is this? What is this?
We got you. Well, thank you everyone for coming on. Thank you everyone for listening, for your comments. Is everyone here okay with me dropping your handles so that people can follow you?
Sure.
Let me know. Okay, great. So I'm dropping their handles so you can follow them. Bye.
No child.